Hi there, this is Paul Thompson from Spitfire Audio. I'm very excited today to be able to show you the third instalment of our Zimmer percussion library. This is the London Solos library, it's HZ03, and it contains a fantastic selection of soloist versions of many of the drums that are contained in HZ01. It's an essential bolt-on to that first library and really gives you an added extra layer of punch and definition. Some of these drums have been recorded in a slightly deeper way than in HZ01 in terms of the number of articulations presented, and some of them are very, very similar to the versions in HZ01, depending on which instrument lends itself to a more soloistic performance. So without further ado, I'm going to dive straight in. We're going to go into the artist elements section of the library, and I'm going to start with the HZ mix. And you'll see that we've got, as usual, as before, the three different perspectives. We've got the close, we've got the stage or front perspective, and then the surround perspective. So let's start off with the close, and I'll give you a quick blast of the first up, the buckets. So you can hear that's the close perspective. If we go for the front, and then if we have a listen to the deeper surround perspective. And you've got the usual controls on here that you'll remember. That you can change the pitch, you can filter off the top end there and filter off the bottom end there. And then if I switch back to the close perspective, you have the velocity response curve here. As you hear, in the full setting, the quiet layers are literally as they would be in a kind of more naturalistic style. If you pull this response curve down, it boosts up the quieter layers and smooths out the dynamic changes between the layers. So you hear those quieter sounds much, much louder. And the dynamic response of the keyboard in terms of the volume output is less, but what it's changing the timbre of the sound that you're hearing. So let's go for the next instrument, crusher solo, and we'll start again with the close. That sounds like this. And if we go for the front, and if we go for the surround. Okay, moving on. Dark bucket. Let's again start with the close. And that was the alt hit at the end there. So there's two different types of hit in this. Front perspective. And then the surround perspective. So again, you've got some great variations in the sound there. We go for the darbuka. Incredibly tight, punchy, powerful sound. Really, really amazingly recorded and beautifully produced sound here. And then if we have a look at the surround. So you can get a great kind of blend, find exactly the sound that you want within these. I mean, we're still only obviously on the HZ mixes at the moment. So Dole, this is one that has slightly more detail in it than the kind of multiplayer version in HZ01, because it lends itself for that kind of when you're kind of focused in on the single drum, you can get a lot more depth into the articulations from there. So if we go through from the bottom, we've got, let's have a blend of mics at this one. So we'll have the close perspective and the front perspective. We've got both sticks, top stick only, bottom stick, and then we've got the hand versions, top hand, bottom hand. So with all of those different things, you can put together a really great Dole performance. And you can also set this up. This one reacts really nicely to pitch, so you can pitch it up slightly. Get a tighter tuned sound out of that as well. Let's go for the Percussion. And again, we've got hits and alt hits. We've also got rolls on all of these, controlled by the mod wheel as well, as in HZ01. So here is the Percussion. Let's play close on its own. And then if you go for the front perspective, and then if we go for the surround perspective, and then we'll go have a look at the snare solo next. So here's one of the instruments you've got flams for. Let's have a mix again, just for interest. And the normal hits sound like this. And with the flams, you can build up like this. And then if we have let's just try a different perspective, bit of front, bit of surround, sounds like this. Fabulous stuff. So let's have a look at the Surdo. We'll go through them separately actually on this one as well. So the normal hits sound like this. And then if we go for the front, and then if we look at the surround, fantastic sound there. And the last one up, the Tombeck, you can see we've got hits, slaps and taps. So let's get up a blend of sound for this one. And then we can also get a different mix up. Let's go for front and surround, sounds like this. So again, you know, shaping the sound exactly the way you want it. Let's have a look at, while we're on the Tombeck, let's flick to the AM mixes. And we'll have a quick, I'll show you actually each individual mix separately. So this is the close perspective. Again, you know, a different kind of sound. All of these are the kind of individual preferences of the artists involved. So. And designed to complement each other and work together. And then the deeper surround perspective. So you can hear between even just these two. Let's flick into Jeff's version as well. Just for comparison's sake, we've got, as ever, Jeff's are slightly differently laid out in that they're more kind of close tree, surround and outriggers. So let's have a quick listen to those close. Slightly more naturalistic sounding so that you can go in, but without needing to go to the additional mics, which I'll come to in a minute. You can go in and get the kind of cleaner sound of just the mics themselves. We've got the deepest ambience. And then we've got the wider outriggers. And then if we go into, we'll stick on the Tombecks and we'll look at the additional mics and you can see what we have here. So amongst these, boost this up a tiny bit because these are obviously slightly quieter now because we're going into the individual mic sets. So we've got the bottle set. Mics inside the bottle. We've got mid stage. We've got the gallery mics. We've got the overheads. Now the overheads are designed by Jeff to kind of enable you to load the entire set, all of the sounds, and then for them to be kind of presented in a kind of stage array which relates to the positioning of these individual drums within the hall when they were recorded. So some of these will be panned in different ways according to make the whole thing lock together. But you can obviously still pan these within the Contact front end as well for, you know, all of the additional controls I've been through in other videos up here. But so here's the overhead sound for this particular set. So you can hear that's positioned slightly to the right. We'll go for our pair. This is our stereo pair. Again, a slightly different sound to the mid-range. And then our Contact mic tree. So another different sound there as well. So you've got 6 more very different, interesting sounds that are just feeds from the actual mics themselves. And enable you to kind of blend your own sound together and really kind of design your sound in such a way. If you want to kind of start from scratch, you want to say, right, I'm going to take the overheads, or I'm going to take the mid-range, and I'm going to compress and, you know, put on my own EQ and all that kind of stuff, then this is a great place to start for that. So if we jump back to the artist elements, I'm just going to dive in slightly at random, and we'll pick a few things, and just so you can see some of the other blends of the other mixes. And then if we jump into T, and then if we go for the surround perspective, so again, 3 very, very different sounds there. Let's go straight to Jeff on the dial as well. Go for the have a listen to the more naturalistic sounds here. Closest mics, we've got the tree. We've got the surround perspective. And then we've got the wide outriggers. So you can see, again, a fantastically wide variety of sound, all from the same performances, from the same multi-track. This is the benefit of recording in such a great acoustic with incredible player and, you know, beautiful recording signal chain, and then the kind of the own artist twist on those as well. You've got a really useful package of drums here. So let's pop back in to, let's have a listen to one more thing. Let's do the Crusher. Love the Crusher, fantastic sound. And let's have a quick listen to Alan's version of this. That's your closest. This is your mid-range perspective, and then your deepest. So again, really useful stuff if you go for if you can do a bit of pitch control. If we go back to the close mic, again, you know, you can make some incredibly interesting and useful stuff out of there. So I'm playing left-handed a little bit out of time. You can kind of mangle these just using these simple controls on the front end into very, very useful kind of ticking sounds, you know, to kind of keep the tracks bubbling along, or, you know, kind of pitch them right down and go for a kind of deep, you know, kind of more effecty sound. You can hear those with the deeper stuff. So you can get all kinds of fantastic sounds out of these. And then last of all, let's have a quick listen to Jeff's version of the Crusher. The close. Again, pan so that it reflects the position on the stage, as it were. But if you want to position that in the center, you can simply do that using the controls in here. Tree, the surrounds. Shouldn't say surrounds. The surround perspective. In other words, the most ambient perspective, and then the outriggers wide. So in here, as I said, just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful set of drums. Have a look at the website, have a listen to the demos. We've got more demos coming over the next week. and we're having a load of fun with this here, and hope you'll find this an incredibly useful and valuable addition to your HZ01 libraries, even as a standalone library, or even to cut into rock tracks and stuff with HZ02. Goes very well with that as well. Thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye-bye.